All right, let's talk about Call of the Wild. I'm Pops. I'm going to break it down for you, whether you'll like it, not like it, some of the pros and cons, because the trailers were a little mixed. The film's gotten some mixed reviews. Let me help you out. Let me know if it'll be worth your time. Stay tuned. This is Pops. Hey, I'm Pops. As I said, we're going to talk about the Call of the Wild. And if you're with me, before I get into that, let me have you hit that subscribe and join our network and help us grow the channel. All right, The Call of the Wild. It stars Harrison Ford and a CGI dog named Buck. And it brings Jack London's famous novel to life on the screen. And it's pretty interesting in a lot of ways. It's definitely family friendly. This was actually a Fox film. And as Disney bought Fox, it's kind of come on board. So it's kind of a Disney-Fox hybrid. And you can see that it kind of is not really a Disney product. We're not quite sure what the original version might have been modified from. Director Chris Sanders is kind of put this together, and you know, I think the CGI dog thing is really where the biggest hang-up is for most folks. But let me break this down a little bit for you. All right, so let's first talk about Buck. Buck is a CGI character. He's basically a Saint Bernard and a Scotch Collie mix. He is the entire main character of the film. We see him early on with a wealthy family. It's about, in the middle of the gold rush. So he's with his family. He's basically abducted, dog-napped, and he's going to be moved to Alaska so he can be sold as a working dog in that area. And that's pretty much what happens. He joins a post office delivery service, like a sled dog team. He doesn't understand it at first, but he ultimately not only embraces it, he kind of becomes the leader, and he challenges the other dog. And a lot of that stuff does line up with the book. Harrison Ford, of course, is the entire movie. Anything he was in, it's like a scene stealer. It was absolutely tremendous. Thornton befriends Buck, sees him again, rescues him from... All right, so once the post office cancels, the Western Union thing cancels the mail delivery, Buck's kind of left, right? They sell him, and he's scooped up by these wealthy, greedy gold seekers who think they have a dog sled, and that's enough to go out there. And he's kind of saved by Thornton, who's is basically Harrison Ford's character, and Ford and Buck become friends, and it's a very unique thing where it's back and forth, back and forth. And I said he's all CGI. London's book is such a classic and bringing some of these interesting things from that time to life. So Buck all along is kind of tapping into his inner wolf, right? He has sort of like visions of a wolf. He understands that being a dog has a lot of interesting instincts and things that he's not been embracing because he's been so domesticated. But what really breaks down is how human they make Buck to be. He has all sorts of crazy emotions. He hides a bottle of beer or liquor at one point. Just all these things, and it's really awkward, actually. It does not work. It really takes you away from seeing him as a dog. And since he's CGI, his eyes and these sort of like humanizing of the character, it just doesn't really work. I really wish it worked. We're like dog people. We like dogs. I like dog movies. I really do. Art of Driving in the Rain was one of the most recent ones. The Dog's Journey films, like them. They're pretty good. They're entertaining. They're family fun. This is kind of like that, but it just was not quite there. Sanders made some creative decisions. I don't know how Fox was trying to come up with something that would be Disney-esque without being Disney. Like, it's just not quite good. And from what I understand, I haven't watched it. Togo on Disney Plus is kind of like a better version of this movie. So I got to give that a chance so I can kind of compare it for you. Overall, I gave the film about a 4. Just not a very good film overall. A lot of slow parts. It's interesting as Buck kind of continues to grow. He meets a pack of wild dogs and wolves. And he kind of, as Buck is embracing this wild side, he sort of, again, it's like the human child growing up from teenager to an adult, and he kind of meets a girl, and these kind of things are all transpiring, and it's just too human. It doesn't really work as good as it should. So like I said, if you got small kids, you need some time out, maybe add a little bit that you'll enjoy it, especially I think boys more girls, just based on the stereotype of the adventure elements of the film. This isn't a real cute, sweet, cuddly kind of film at all. It's more jokey and tough and rugged, with Thornton kind of being the nucleus of the best parts of the film. So, you know, the girliness and the sweet, cute Beethoven stuff's just not there. So that's the gist of that. So with that, hang around if you want some spoilers. Tell me what you thought. Did you saw Call of the Wild? Did you like it? You didn't like it? I appreciate all of your comments and feedback. Let me know if you saw Togo, what you thought of that one. It's a better movie than this or not.
Yeah, spoilers.
I might have given something away there. I'm gonna get in so much trouble now.
All right, let's talk spoilers. Call of the Wild. Not much to say, really. So, look, the biggest spoiler really is that the entire death of Thornton, that he's killed by the rich people and not the Indian. The villain, so the villain, who's played by Dan Stevens from Downton Abbey, and he was in Beauty and the Beast. It's a pretty cheesy villain. I mean, it literally is like old Mr. Peabody, Bullwinkle type shows. You know, he's going to twirl a mustache and It was just, it was really weak and distracting. I didn't care for that at all. And the fact that they drove completely in a different direction to be PC from the Jack London film. Like I said, I don't know where Fox and Disney begins, if any modifications were made after the fact, but really shies away from like the violence. A lot of the Indian and Native American themes are gone. It really weakened the overall power of the film because it doesn't match up. Everybody knows at that time in our history, it was so much rougher and dangerous in the wilderness. The threat of Native Americans, Indians, you're on their territory. They can swoop in and kill people, do things. That threat being removed really, really damaged the film and removed a whole lot of tension for the film. It's entertaining. The dog sled stuff was way better than I thought it was. I actually enjoyed that a lot more in some ways than the latter part because it got so dark, and Buck is so distracted by following his wolf instincts, and they don't talk, right? So the interactions are fine, but they humanize them to express their emotions and things like that. So you never see him as a real dog. There's not even a moment where you're like, hey, you know, he seems like a real dog. He's a cartoon dog the whole time. Distracting. And it really, really drags the film down. And it's a shame because I think Harrison Ford did a good job. I think the dog sled scenes and stuff like that was actually a high point and way better than I think some people may have given it credit for. But, you know, it is what it is. So, like I said, hit me up with what you thought. Give me your thoughts and feedbacks. Call of the Wild. There's your update from Pops.
That old man's got so much energy and charisma. You could learn a thing or two from him.